Welcome to our lovely future humans and those who want to know 3 reasons why that which is our lovely inner growth mindset toolkit supports those of you who have a wellness toolbox. So we began with a couple of shorts. If you're sustaining a spiritual life, you will also benefit from that which is inner growth, and if you're doing personal growth, because you own this lovely body though in connection. Okay, so we're going to start with our lovely number 1. Oh yes, emotional regulation skills. Let's make sure that you understand this. You own the 3-year-old and you own 2 sides of the brain, and so you can self-regulate. That's who has a wholeness and a personality pattern and a secure attachment. And so when emotions come up, you don't throw them out, and you do not do the Carl Jung shadow archetypes or whatnot in stories from the spiritual bypassers. You are very well aware of how to work with anger, thoughts, sadness thoughts, fear thoughts. And when I do this is because our emotions come up and our thoughts come here, and that's the left and the right, and our habitual brain, the default mode network, down regulates. And so integration of the brain is where mindfulness mindset practices work. So number 1, the benefit of inner growth mindset is that you get to support the emotional regulation skills that you're already putting into practice. And why is that? Well, 1, you have introspection. So for example, today I found out venting, it's a myth that it's helpful. I already knew that though personally, and that's because by the time I was mid-20s, late 20s, I forget, I said I'm going to stop venting because it feels really poisonous inside. So that's what I call a biochemistry of fear and yucky lust or yucky visceral or whatever the fuck it is. It's just like, and it was like poison. I mean, I've never tried poison, so let me see. Anyone know about that? You know, the tang of like a tangerine, but put some hot sauce, which I also don't do a lot of, and then make it like you had too many tomatoes, so it's like acidic. Okay, so yeah, it's really not feeling good. So yeah, it's not. And so when I said I'm going to stop venting, I went to people that I consistently would talk to and said, can you help me stop venting? And 2 people that I asked close to me, 1 said, but you're human, you can't stop venting. I said, it's because I'm human that I can stop venting. I own my mind and my emotions. Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. And then the other one said, but you're not Jesus or Buddha. And I'm like, well, Buddha sat under a tree, but ventral vagal portfolio of toning exercises and mindfulness from the Buddhist stuff and meditation support integration of the brain. So today I know exactly how all of the Buddhist psychologists and all the spiritual from that corner, and I bring it all in, by the way, but I begin with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. So I'm like, yeah, I follow Jesus because I promised him that I would forgive my brothers and sisters. I would be blessed because I believe without seeing, and I do know all my brothers and sisters have the kingdom of God within them. So I get to emotionally regulate because I know how to use my thoughts and my feelings. It's called the focusing attention, but I'm regulated in my ventral vagal state. This has to be something you understand. If your body is not yet familiar with being social all the time and having fun with it, even when you're in the presence of emotionally immature people, then you might not be resonating with what IHP is all about, because it's about being yourself, and that means you do not support any self-righteous, angry little butthole, adaptive child part behavior. You don't bring up Dennis the Menace. You don't act like a Cusco. Okay, so when we meet emotionally immature adaptive child part people, whether it's their shadow part from whatever year, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a protector, don't give a shit. It could be a fragmented state of self I have no gifts to. Please appeaser, none of my business. I recalibrate Maria. This is because I own the nervous system. Securely attached, non-traumatized. I'm sovereign. I'm self-led. I will not be petty in any way, shape, or form. And therefore, I will recalibrate. I'll know how to differentiate. And then I'll know how to allow myself to leave alone the bad manners because they're biologically rude. And they're also controlling their own world and being spiteful. And it's not the 3-year-old that we're meeting, it's the self-righteous little 3-year-old that had only that and doesn't know that they're dysregulated, but it's a teenager version of a person, and that's their, you can't tell me what to do. So, like when the person's like, you're not Buddha, you're not Jesus, it was a comment made by a person who doesn't know how to stop venting, and that same human being could have stopped to consider that, and I actually do know that they could have gotten better had they started therapy way back when, but you can't tell people that they have to find a good therapist, EMDR, child parts work, somatic, sensory motor, that it'll take time, and time means 5, 10, 20, we don't know. But that until all their shadow stuff and all their child parts are not yet owned by them, we don't have an emotionally regulating human being. We have a person who will endorse their dysregulated self with their child parts, whether it's a 0, 1, attached, panicky, 3, 7, shame, submissive, freeze of all ages, flight 11, 12, or fight 14, 15, 16. Doesn't matter. Again, whether it's a fragmented state of self that was created to protect her, we will be getting their nasty ass attitude, like my facade friend, their fakeness. And thanks to Jesus, I learned how to deal with unkind behavior and moodiness. Not anything except for, okay, I see someone's upset today, so no, you don't speak. I learned from teenagers how not to say a word. And that's actually why equanimous people, wellness, it's about positive vibes. It's about ventral energy vibes. People say positive because they don't know how to do it. Like the positive mindset that the inner growth mindset brings to you. It's because it allows you to be completely intelligent with your thoughts and emotions, because you're motivated to be yourself in what is a discerning way. God is discerning, equanimous love, not rage. So whenever I see anyone bringing to you rage and they're reading some scripture or whatever, I'm like, wow, there's some shadow time on a screen. So number 1, we're still at supporting emotional regulation. So 3 reasons why future humans enjoy adding the inner growth mindset practices. This is a lovely toolkit of thoughts and emotions exploring. We have journaling sometimes. We can have universal love energy transmission sessions sometimes, okay, just so you can understand. There's paid subscription-based model content. You find the link below. And so we recalibrate that lovely nervous system as we are regulating, because when you understand someone's upset and they're bringing in their behavior, you allow yourself to leave it alone, because biologically rude people are not looking at themselves. If they were, then they would stand down, get into a better position and notice themselves. That's where we will notice. So if someone points out, Maria, you're getting really feisty though, I'll say, okay, hold on. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Here we go. And that's because I do enjoy being an emotionally mature, mentally mature, physically mature person, but also still emotional regulation skills are for intelligent minds, because you're also emotionally intelligent. What you know is that anger, it begins to saturate your hippocampus with cortisol, and that certainty of anger makes you stupid, because you're going to go to stereotypes, go to yesterday's news, your 3-year-old, all of yesterday, of whatever it is you think, and it is very clear. In fact, besides the venting, where I stopped venting, and this updated video just recently that shares, yeah, venting's bad, it's a myth that it's good for you. I knew about it because it puts you also in your temporal junction. And you're in your brainstem, you're offline. You got an adaptive child part person. You might as well just allow them to, and then once they're done, you leave it alone, because that's it. You don't call it lazy arguing. You don't call it, oh my God, they insulted me, because, well, when you're sovereign, at least, excuse me. So I'm a sovereign, self-led human being. So if someone looks away, it doesn't erode my confidence. Actually, I just know, wow. I don't know. I mean, I have bad manners too. Sometimes I look away, so I don't know. That's how it works when you're a healthy self-worth person. And lastly, with the emotional regulation skills, and so again, why future humans like to use the inner growth mindset practices, it is the bright sides of neuroplasticity. So because you say, hey, thoughts, what's up? Oh, look, I got an emotion coming up. Okay, let me have them in a pool. And you continue to integrate. So you get out of that alert. This is Dr. Daniel Siegel's hand model. And Tara Brock helps you with her mindfulness stuff to get into this. And so with that, when I stopped venting again, the people who didn't help, I left it alone. I was very happy they mentioned Jesus, because I'm like, yeah, I follow Jesus, so I'm totally cool with that. And today what I can tell you, it's called restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. Those are the people who benefit from all of IHP content, paid, free, and every single bit of the mindset for sure. The ones who say, but it's not mindset. It's because, yeah, we know that which is a body, and I got it. I don't know that body, but I do know someone who helps with the body. Her name is Dr. Amy Apigian, and she's awesome at helping people to understand that, yes, it's not willpower, and it is not about motivation, that some people need to first go to therapy and wait a while, and even after therapy, they're still going to be working to get that survival mode to disengage. So when someone takes care of themselves, they love you, I, and the world, which is why they lead a spiritual life. even if they're sciences. Because they would say, I will not endorse my Cusco behavior, my shadow parts. I will not endorse any kind of biological root shit that comes from my 0 to 16-year-old age or fragmented. We all have the child charge states. Then there's some people who also have fragmented states of self. It's not a demon. All people can be supported. If they want, they can heal. It takes 20 years, they can still heal. They get earned secure attachment. Oh, and when I said about the boring thing the other day, if any of you are consistent viewers, I mentioned the trauma educators, but it's not the trauma educators that talk about secure attachment category as boring. It's the coaches that I've seen. So I do know, I'm sure there's some educators as well, but not in my courses so far. The ones that I learned from didn't call secure attachment boring. The attachment coaches of styles definitely seem to not want to, support their collective to get to health. I would have done it differently, but I'm securely attached, which is why I won't speak for a collective that I cannot understand. I can tell you that it's disgusting to have the visceral low frequency, and that's why I stopped venting, because it's a low. And yes, today I'll say yuck because it's like poison, and I didn't recognize it until I became aware. But also our brain completely develops by the age of 25. So we have an adolescent essence, which is where the chemistry is different from your 11 to 25 years of age, because your brain's developing. So when people take out of their equation the fact that they're an embodied brain and they don't recognize that there's a process in which your brain works and that the adolescent essence involves, Dr. Daniel Siegel has great acronyms, the essential spark, social engagement, novelty, and creative expression. And that's why they're concerned with helping teenagers and adolescents with anything that is with the online world. And that's also why they get addicted to drugs, alcohol, the fucking business, the inner and outer critic. They're the most vulnerable because of this reward stuff and system. There's a lot of smart neuroscientists out there who are really great. So the words don't matter. As Stephen Porges points out, it's the nervous system that matters. And the ones who are working with somatic therapists, the good ones, know that sometimes it won't be immediate somatic stuff. It will be potentially no body stuff because it's too dangerous. It's too unsafe. So everybody has a different journey, which is why, again, we emotionally regulate. And when we meet emotionally immature people, we know how to differentiate. And that's why the inner growth mindset practices support the future humans who are mystic, spiritual, and mindful, because, again, we're happy to be able to be in the room with Cuscos. There's bountiful of adaptive child part people out there, and to leave it alone. And if they want to not bring us their biological rudeness, personal growth. Number 2 reason. So if I say I want to be the best version of myself, I don't want to bring my mood into the room because there's no need. And so by emotionally regulating consistently, being a inner adult, not having any of my child parts come up, because that's what it means to be whole, to own the personality patterns, and you own the sense of self, so you don't enmesh, you don't lose your shit, you don't stay in survival mode, you don't endorse any kind of grumpiness. I was grumpy when I was a teenager again, but I decided not to be grumpy when people would wake me up, because that's not nice. You treat people the way you want to be treated. Nice means kind. Right means to be nice to each other. Wrong means to be not nice to each other. It's not about lying or not lying, though, even though you want to be truthful, but there's so many people who take things personally that you can't. So again, it's not black and white, and anybody who's saying right or wrong in those equations, adaptive child part. And morality, when someone wants to say morality means monoamory or polyamory or following one book or 2 books, really, I would say morality is that every single person do personal growth. So number 2 reason why inner growth mindset supports people that are doing personal growth mindset, because it helps you to reframe through not only your own words, obviously not mine, but the neutrality and duality, the capacity to also hear a story of someone who says, yeah, it's never been hard for me to notice unkindness. By the time I'm 14, I said, hey, so I got a bunch of cowards and they're all assholes, but I'm an asshole too, potentially, meaning I'm just like them. I learned how not to cast a stone by the time I was 16, 17. And then I said, though, I'm going to choose them, because, why would I choose those who are not having anyone's back. Okay, and so I chose my herd, and in my herd I met more cowards, and so people who lie and people who don't know how to tell you the truth. And then as I got older, I continued to meet them, which is why I thank my facade friend, because I don't yell in anyone's face. Okay, so today I have the word for you. Adaptive child part people who have shadow selves and parts of themselves not healed, they're going to continue being in and out, inconsistent, and their mood swings are what leads them. So they have no capacity. No, they could expand their window of welcome, but that's with a good therapist, where they get to own their child parts, because those first 3 years are implicit memory. And so when someone does it the right way, they'll tell you EMDR, child parts work somatics, and then they'll be done, and then they'll say, differently about Maria, I want life now. And that's a person who won't be here, because step 3, spiritual life. Well, no, number 2 still, reframing. They don't want to reframe. So I got to hear about, reframing your mental state by a beautiful Sam Harris. And as he was talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Expanding consciousness, you're dropping in and out of experience. I took some notes. But I noticed that he didn't really chit-chat about the body. So that's where I'm always thinking, doesn't matter what words you use. If you don't know how to emotionally regulate yet, so you don't have emotional regulation skills, and you don't know how to physically continue to be in your regulated self by choice, because you choose forgiveness. So for me, Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, and my mother taught me manners, but those are my foundations. Okay, so when I became a mystic, I knew, okay, I won't be welcomed by some, but they can't make me think I'm evil, because I'm not. And the word evil doesn't mean shit to me, except for Michael Stone, forensic criminologist scale, and they're all pathological, all of them. So their automatic behaviors, I feel sorry for them. No, I can't. That's disrespectful, because God tells me, don't judge your brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of your fucking time, Maria. To see an empowered feminine is what you have in front of you. I'm a mystic. Divine feminine, divine masculine, I'm empowered. It means a human being. Any person has both. When they're whole, it's a person who's a actual badass, who knows the equanimous tone, knows the silence in the right moments. In fact, this other video I was watching said it's not true that getting everything off your chest is a good deal. And when you meet people who don't actually want to pursue personal growth, so they think their mood swings and their short temper is something justifiable, again, they're choosing to allow that self-righteous baton that Patrick Tian talks about to carry on. So they're carrying on with their transgenerational trauma. We don't have to copy. You don't copy biologically rude people when you are an emotionally mature person. You also don't have to belittle them or make them have to go and get health. Wellness is not necessary for all. And if they don't want it, you don't, again, make them. And that's why some people, wellness, why are you always in positive vibes? Really what it is ventral energy vibes. And so the reframing our mental state to a positive mindset, it's not only about it being positive, it's about you being able to, in fact, it's intelligence, if you ask me, because you're actively continuing to integrate your brain, you're expanding your window welcome to your emotional state always, and then you are completely immersed with a bunch of pieces of information, which is amazing. And so you're at awe. And that's where, with the spiritual life, for those of us who come with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and then also archangels, angels, you name it, all of it, okay? So for me, nothing changed with downloads and my oversoul. The only thing that I wish I would have had was all the smart therapists that I learned from. The minute that I got Claire's, had I already had all of Dr. Daniel Siegel's courses, I would have been completely aware of exactly how to handle myself, so that I would be able to not only be a better person to the people that didn't choose to have trauma, but also I would have been able to disregard completely a bunch of bullshit. So it wasn't a waste of my time. Of course, I'm here, and thanks to that, to support the spiritual life of the mystics that are 5D collective, so that you don't have to waste time in disrespecting the masculines who have their own journey, also disrespecting those which are our ancestors, because it's one thing that we want to honor their stories, bring them together and continue, but it's another when you disregard science's proofs there's no demons inside the brains of anyone or in the bodies, and disregarding it because you believe that one group is good and one group is bad, and you don't hear enough of the neuroscience, mental health, and all the professionals I learned from. And so with that being said, again, Spiritual Life Personal Growth Mindset and Emotional Regulation Skills Toolkit. You can join us for more, and that's for those who have a wellness toolbox because you love being yourself. And whether you're a mystic, spiritual, or mindful, living, loving person, you know that the mindset is everything, because that mindset is what is going to have you become aware of your body and your shitty behavior. And then the mindset is going to be you saying, I want to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, meaning beyond you, and stay open-hearted, not grumpy, not being short-tempered. As you get older, if you don't know how to become more joyful and more expansive, well, yeah, you're doing something that's not wrong. You're just doing the survival mode. You're going to stagnate in a low frequency. You're going to have the dark sides of neuroplasticity, and that's why it's not good or bad. When we learn from lovely Therapy Nutshell Lady, she has a video where she has a lady come up and she's got like 4 steps, a model to handle emotionally immature people. Feels really silly, but she's right. And some of us intuitively do it because we don't want to offend and be mean to anyone. And when you are a functional child adult and you know that trauma affects everyone, why would you be an asshole to someone? Then again, I'm still going to be an asshole to those who are unhealthy self-worth, because anytime they meet a higher self, they're going to be like, what do you know, everything? And then they're going to move into this, I'm going to control my situation. And the 3-year-old with the 16-year-old attitude, though, is coming in as if it's a kid saying, I want it my way and I don't like you, but they're not a kid. And then they get to characterological insults, or they get to making those remarks that are, there's a guy who talks about it. Let me see if I can find it, because it was interesting. Give me 1 minute. I have many notes. Here it is. So they can dish it out, but they can't take it. Personal attacks, yeah. Character attacks, calling you names, but sometimes it's also mixed information. Yes, I like who you are. Yes, I like what you talk about. No, I don't like it. It's stupid. No, I don't want to. The opposite information I like and don't like is actually attacking a person. The difference is an emotionally mature human being won't feel that they are being attacked. Because again, it's pretty clear when someone's in a mood, and that's why personal growth is a choice. Emotional regulation skills also a choice, but it is not a choice to have the 16-year-old child parts or fragmented states of self. The choice is to go heal it all and get out of self-righteous little butthole, get out of storylands, and actually be honoring oneself. So that's the part of where you can't make someone choose love, because they need to choose self-love. You can't make them choose health because they have to choose wellness with their own embodied brain. As Sadhguru points out, if you want everyone to fall in love with you, you must first fall in love with all of them. Now, I personally don't want all people to fall in love with me, because it's also impossible. Meaning that you're going to be an asshole to someone. I'm not decent enough to be saluted. Everyone who tunes into this channel knows the story. I didn't do anything to this person except for I'm not his friend. I don't want to be his friend. I'm a stranger. And he had a mood, and that evening he decided how to use his mood, and I decided to continue to be Maria. And I was like, oh shit, it's not about decency. You said hi to him and him and him and him. And I said, yeah. So okay. In Italy we say hello with kisses. And then I left the scene and I moved behind the bar, and he's like, you're moving away from me. And eventually, as I'm trying to talk to my friends who are hanging out with him, I'm near my friends, and now he grabs a hug at some point because he's hugging people. He's drunk. And then at a certain point in the evening, he says, and we'll become friends. And my body, because I'm a truth teller when it comes to this kind of stuff, but our body always says the truth because it's already doing movements, which is one thing. A consistent, contingent communicator will not lie. You're a functional child adult, and when someone's like, yeah, I can see your smile, like, shit, shut up if you don't want to say anything. But that's why you work with yourself, but you always say the truth. There's nothing to hide. So when you have no shame, no shadow parts, no I'm upset at being myself, it's, so I'm flawed, I'm imperfect. That's why not everyone's going to love you, because plenty of people, especially if they don't like ventral energy, and if they don't like that you're whole, that you own your sense of self, and that you're empowered, and that therefore in any kind of moment you're always going to show up, and you will not fail to show up with an open heart and an open mind and an open gut. I mean, that's the beauty of personal growth, by the way. Intelligence, it's amazing. Mental, emotion, physical mastery. Mwah! The Enlightenment Soul Age group, I mean, wow. And being a mystic, it's like triple the fun. So imagine, I can download, I have Akashic record readings all the time, past, present, future, you name it, like the things that you will be able to enjoy while being grounded in reality. I'm a human being, okay? So I honor my ancestors in a very different way. But what I was trying to get to as I was reading Sadhguru's quote is that you will love all of your brothers and sisters equally, even if they don't love you. So I love the human being, but someone said, but you don't, you want to be his friend. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I simply did not engage. And no, I don't want to be friends with an unhealthy self-worth human being man who he's actually pretty much insisting on doing things that nobody of the circle are like, yeah, let's be friends with him. He has no boundaries. And one person that we know of that got to be friends is the one who had to say, yeah, enough. And even in that instance, this individual protected, meaning, but they're good. Nobody said nobody's bad. This is that part of where biologically rude people, emotionally immature people, they can heal with therapy. If they don't, then they will continue with their behavior. And their behavior is where they can dish it out. They can't take it. It's all about the no impulse control, taking things personally, calling people names. And that is how, when their dark sides and their plasticity continue to be in, they're just going to be that shame, blame, fault, revenge. They're 0-8-year-old on a wheelhouse. They never own their subconscious. And it's non-metabolized trauma time that continues to try to save itself, meaning to complete the defense mechanism is the gist of it. Pat Ogden does a better job at sharing that, but the gist of it is that the subconscious of the person needs the inner child reparenting. Reparenting means I want to go and take care of my maladaptive patterns of behavior. The inner outer critic, the drinking, drugging, fucking, the self-righteous little butthole. I want to go and take care of my protectors, because the shadow parts can be protectors. So anytime something comes up, you don't want to suppress it down. You want to welcome it, but you don't want to dish it out. And that's where those who do, they find a reason to find a group, pat each other on the back, and then they behave like buffoons because they are justifying by using their mouth a lot of unpent or unkept or whatever, unexpressed anger. So long story short, though, those who are equanimous and discerning and loving, those who are enlightened ones, spiritual masters, gurus, higher self-led, those who are whole and who will probably be back here, especially if you have gotten to the end, we inspire human potential because humans are awesome. Nobody needs to change. They do need to go to therapy if they do need to change. They will tell us about their journey because they will be reclaiming their true self, getting out of the dysregulated self, knowing how to spot it, emotionally regulate, have an integrated brain, and join us in the land of aliveness, which is an honor. Because that's when they're going to continue doing personal growth and they're going to do spiritual life, even if they don't believe in God. It doesn't matter because everyone is spiritual. But if they don't believe in it, we don't have to make them. It's called the essence of their life. It's called their inner child. It's called their 1-year-old and their 3-year-old. And it's all the child parts that are charged. And then it's a whole self. I got a course with Dr. Dana Siegel, Disorganized Attachment Dissociative Disorder, and the lady healed with him after 7-8 years. She's whole and she's a family and she's a therapist and she's writing a book. I can't wait for it to come out, and I love that she's writing a book and that Peter Levine is out there. So the ones who take wellness seriously, they love themselves first and they love all humanity, and that's where mystics and spiritual won't call them names, and they will understand what low frequency is because there's enough smart therapists out there explaining it. And Patrick McNamara with his neuroscience, all people are explaining exactly what we are dealing with when we have any of that. On Michael Stone, Forensic Criminologist, Scale of Evil, it's people who are pathologies and they could be helped, but they have to be the ones to choose. I'm going to do enough to be saluted. So by the end of the evening, he's saying, and we'll become friends. I'm like, no, we won't become friends. And we'll be talking. Yeah, no, we won't be talking. We'll be seeing each other. Yes, we will be seeing each other, but that's all. And, oh, see, you put up barriers. Nope, I'm just telling you how it is. Your body moves with you. And that's okay, because why would you ever hide yourself? So when you're emotionally regulating and you add to your toolbox with these skills, you are also mentally appreciating the opportunity. When you don't get seen, you're not going to make a big deal out of it. And at the end of the day, you're going to enjoy every day. Thanks for stopping by. Tune on in and subscribe.